So, into this milieu, it's now time to introduce the princess. Now, back in those days, there's a beautiful verse in the Bhagavad Gita. It says, Saha yagya prajasrishtva purovacha prajapatihi, which means when the Creator created men and women and animals and forests and trees, in addition to living beings, whose main job was to survive, go outside, gather things, prosper, and procreate, and so on. In addition to that, Saha yagyaha prajaha. Yagya means self-offering. He imbued in all living beings the innate ability to give. Okay? So, he created all living beings whose main objective was to take, accumulate, prosper, and he imbued in them the innate ability to give. Perhaps the need to give, maybe, maybe not, but certainly the ability to give. Purovacha prajapatihi, and thus the Creator said. What did the Creator say? Having imbued in all of creation the ability to give, to offer, to sacrifice, he said, use this ability to give to fulfill all your wishes. Think about that for a moment. He didn't say, use your muscles, use your intellect, use your perception. He said, if you have a wish, give first. And then he goes on to say, the fire, the element of fire has the special ability that when you give anything, offer it into the fire, it will take your offering straight to the gods, and the gods will return back whatever it is that you desire. So these ancient fire ceremonies were called as yagyas. Now you can take this all the way. What if you, instead of offering this or that, what if you offered yourself mentally? That I offer myself. If our ability to give extended to our whole self, what do the gods give us back in return? They grant us liberation, moksha. You see, the concept of yagya, which is in you, in me, in everybody, is very central to get unstuck from creation and go beyond. Now, in the neighboring kingdom of the Kurus, there was a king named Drupada. He, of course, like many, many kings throughout the ages, I'm not sure why this is, he didn't have children. There's something going on with kings and not having children. So he wanted children. And he knew, he was a very pious man. He says, yagya is the way. I just cannot want children and it will happen. So he called the priests and they began to perform. They perform a great yagya. And this great big fire altar was constructed, and he gave away a lot of possessions to poor and the needy, and all the while having the strong intention, please, devas, angels, Lord, give me the gift of children. And so pure was his mind and so vast were his offerings that one day from the fire emerged a resplendent youth, a boy, fully grown, about teenage, old enough to be a man, but not quite yet. He's right in that transition time. He emerged, and then he descended down, and behind him, into the fire, as they were chanting the mantras, they were doing offerings, the fire was raging, the flames were leaping up, and from that emerged a beautiful maiden, a beautiful lady. Her skin was blue in color, her eyes were as wide as lotus leaves, and her hair was long down to her waist, dark and curly, and her nails were perfectly formed, the color of burnt copper. She emerged from the flames were raging, but she seemed brighter than the fire that she came out from. And then she descended down and she walked towards her father and mother, about to embrace them lovingly. And from a disembodied voice from the sky spoke up, Sura karyamiyam kale karishyasi sumadhyama. It spoke in this way, Sura karyamiyam kale karishyasi sumadhyama, which means this slender-waisted young maiden is destined to accomplish the work of gods in time. And the voice goes on to say, she's going to strike fear in the hearts of the Kauravas. That is her destiny. She's going to cause them suffering and eliminate evil from the face of the earth. Her name was Draupadi. This was the princess who was ready to get married. Now we move back to current time. So she had grown up, she's of marriageable age. Now, back in those days, as much as arranged marriage is common in India now, back then it had a slight twist to it. Inserted the element of choice into this entire arranged marriage situation. And the way it worked was that the bride, the potential grooms would line up. It's not any, Tom, Dick and Harry, but it would be the parents would choose, okay, this one, this one, this one. And then she would walk around and choose whomever she wanted. And it was okay to not want anybody. Go back to the drawing board. I didn't like anybody. Go back. Okay? So this was how it was done. But she was a princess, the daughter of fire, Draupadi. So you really cannot line up a bunch of people under a tent like this and then say, okay, who do you want? Go for it. It didn't work that way because everybody would come. Just so beautiful. And they'd have a relationship with what's essentially the second most powerful kingdom of the realm. So Drupada thinks, what should I do? I just don't want to create a stampede here of all the princes across the world. So he says, I will design a test. And what a test it was. What test did he design? It wasn't like multiple choice, how much of this, that, no. This is a prince. Need to be a warrior. So there's a great arena was constructed. And there is a very tall pole. Okay, very, very tall pole. And on top of that was mounted a wheel with spokes on it. And the wheel was lazily spinning. Okay, everybody got the picture? Now above the wheel was the actual target, which was a small wooden fish. And it too was mounted on a system of levers and things like that, so that the fish was moving. It wasn't stationary. The objective was to shoot an arrow through the spokes of the wheel as it was moving and hit the moving fish right in the eye. Oh my God, you say. But, that's not even the beginning. Then there was a bow. It was unstrung. So it was just this piece of metal which had to be bent into shape. And this was the bow of Durga. Priests and yogis had sat in front of it for 73 days, imbuing it with power. So it sat there shaking, vibrating with ethereal power. It was impossible to lift, let alone bend. So the bow had to be strung, and then you had to shoot the arrow through the spokes of the spinning wheel at the wooden fish that was gently, lazily moving in a random way. But that wasn't all. You couldn't look at any of this. Below this was a big bowl of oil. You had to look at the reflection of the whole thing in the oil and then shoot. Okay, everybody with me? Means she is smoldering beauty, Princess Draupadi. You gotta set some standards. All the princes were invited. And everybody came, absolutely. And some much older, inappropriate people came too, because everybody wanted this. And then Draupadi stood at one side, and she was surpassingly beautiful. She was clad in fine silks, bejeweled, and she was holding a golden tray on which was a garland that she would place on whomever it was that she would like, and was able to win this impossible thing. And then Draupadi's brother Drishtadyumna, he walks up and he says, here's the bow. Oh, I forgot one more thing. On the off chance that somebody was able to do all of this, and more than one was able to do all of this, there were 5 arrows. So then in that case, the person that shot the most arrows into the target would be chosen. So Drishtadyumna, the brother, walks up and he says, here's the bow, there are the arrows, there is the target, let the tournament begin. And as the princes walked one by one, Drishtadyumna would announce their name and their accomplishments, their pedigree, and so on. And then Draupadi now had the right to say, nope, don't even bother. But one by one they walked. And Draupadi, her eyes are lowered, but she kind of looks askance at who the next candidate is. And she said, well, doesn't matter whether I like him or not, but he won't be able to do anything. And she was right. Many people aren't even able to lift the bow. They grunt, they lift, they fall back, doesn't work. Every now and then they walk away humiliated. Now a few of them, they lifted the bow, and then they bent it. But they are unable to string it because it twanged back, broke their nose, and they fell writhing and motionless. And this happened again and again and again. And then Drishtadyumna and Drupada are thinking, wow, did we make it too hard? I mean, we need to have an outcome here. And so eventually, who gets up? Even Duryodhana tries. He can't. He's humiliated. He goes back. Then who gets up? Karna gets up. Karna walks, and he just swaggers across, because, he can do much more than this. He picks up the bow swiftly, strings it, looks down, and just as he's about to shoot, it's obvious that he's going to shoot. Then Draupadi says, how dare you? I will not get married to a low-born son of a charioteer. Calmly, Karna places the bow down with head held high. Without losing his dignity, he walks back. Nobody is left. So in desperation, Drishtadyumna looks at the Brahmins, meaning the priestly class, and then the merchants, and says, anybody among you, really anybody, Draupadi is there. And he knows it's kind of a long shot thing, but he has to try. And he doesn't expect anything out of this, but extraordinarily, amazingly, somebody from the gallery of Brahmins, these are scholars and priests and yogis and renunciants and so on, from their gallery, a youth gets up. Now the Brahmins look at this guy and they are embarrassed. Oh, this guy is going to bring a bad name to all of us. What's he going to do? Duryodhana couldn't do it, he couldn't do it. But then as he begins to walk, this youth, they notice the strength, the determination in his walk, and his supreme confidence. And they begin to think, oh, maybe we were mistaken. They are kind of, yogis and renunciants and scholars after all. So they see beyond just the clothes he's wearing. And they begin to wave their clothes and cheering, egging him along. Now Draupadi, look, she's there. She looks what's going on. She looks askance, just lifts her gaze a little bit. And she catches this youth, giving her a playful smile. And she catches his wide eyes and his handsome build. And then, unbeknownst to her, kind of automatically the thought comes to her, oh, I hope he wins the tournament. And then with cheeks reddening, she lowers her gaze. And then this youth walks and he lifts the bow as if it were weightless, and within a fraction of a second he strings the bow, looks down and shoots 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 arrows, one after the other, right into the target of the moving fish. Keeps the bow down, walks up to Draupadi, holds out his hand, and Draupadi takes it. And they begin to walk away. Imagine the swagger, the panache of this youth. And then suddenly Duryodhana and Karna, they say, no, we don't know who you are. How can you take Draupadi? And they try to resist him, but he easily overcomes all of them. Seeing his skill with the bow, Draupadi knows that she finally found the husband she was actually hoping would win the tournament. This was none other than Arjuna. Because the Pandavas had been staying incognito in the house of a humble potter in a small village far away from the capital city, and knowing that this wedding was going to take place, they had come. And so Arjuna walks away from the arena. And then he goes to Kunti, who's living in this small house, and then he says, Mother, guess what I have? And then Kunti, now you have to put yourself in Kunti's shoes here for a moment. She is the mother of 5 strapping young boys. And what do strapping young boys do? Whatever else they do, they fight amongst each other. For what? They fight for food. There's never enough food in the house, and she's no longer a queen. So she's tired of all of these boys fighting amongst themselves for food. So she says, whatever it is, share it amongst yourselves. The entire universe stands still. The wind stops blowing. Because you see, it was a higher age. The words of a mother, which always come from a pure place where her children are concerned, cannot be wrong, otherwise harmony in the universe is disturbed. So they have no choice. Draupadi has no choice. The Pandavas have no choice. So Draupadi ends up with 5 husbands. 5 husbands. Now these events have unfolded so quickly for Draupadi. She couldn't wrap her head around this, because just moments ago she was the princess wondering if anybody would do this impossible tournament and win it. And now his 5 husbands. And then she doesn't know the prophecy. Remember the prophecy that one day the work of the gods will be accomplished by her? She doesn't know it, but it hasn't been told to her, but she glimpses it. Somehow intuitively, she glimpses that her life is not going to unfold in the normal way. And she doesn't know how to deal with it. And I mean, I don't even have to say it. Perhaps you're putting yourself in Draupadi's shoes, trying to see what she's dealing with at this point. She doesn't know how to deal with it. And the only thing she knows to do, right at that moment, there is a change that happens in her mind. Has this happened to you when you suddenly glimpse your destiny and you say, no, everything I thought, the way my life would unfold, is actually wrong. This is what I'm meant to do, and it is so different, so incomprehensible that I have no choice. She says, Lord, I am thine. Devotees may come, devotees may go, but I will be thine always. No matter, I might go farther than the stars, but I will be thine always.
I will be thine always, my I may go far, farther than the stars, but I will be thine always. My Lord, I will be thine always. Devotees may come, devotees may go, devotees may come, devotees may go, but I will be thine always. My Lord, I will be thine always. When I die, look into mine eyes. When I die, look into mine eyes. They will mutely say, I will be thine always. My Lord, I will be thine always. I may go far, farther than the stars. I may go far, farther than the stars, but I will be thine always. My Lord, I will be thine always. Devotees may come, devotees may go, devotees may come, devotees may go, but I will be thine always. My Lord, I will be thine always. When I die, look into mine eyes. When I die, look into mine eyes. They will mutely say, I will be thine always. My Lord, I will be thine always.
How strange are the ways of God. How hard it is to know our destiny. Yudhishthira, who was the most just, dharmic, even as a youth, he was almost assassinated along with his brothers. Why do bad things happen to good people? Draupadi, the princess, had no idea. She didn't choose. She had no idea that she had a great big destiny awaiting her. What is the meaning of all of this? Ponder that for a moment. We'll talk about this